So tariffs are bad. Tariff bad. Tariff good. I don't know, guys. It's all out there. There's a lot of crazy things happen with these new tariffs that are happening right now, coming from the American side of businesses and trade overseas. So I just kind of want to talk a little bit about it and let you guys know my thoughts on it during this Shop Talk episode. So let's talk a little bit about how tariffs are going to affect the collectibles and TCG accessories industry. But first of all, what are tariffs? Just kind of like a really quick thing about them is that tariffs are a tax or duty on goods to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports for a country. So like right now, there's like a blanket one pretty much for most countries right now, which is about around 10 or 20%, depending on the good, depending on the country. And then there's also some higher percentages going on. I've heard as high as 20, 30, I think even 50% on some things and for some countries. And I think there's a current one on China now, which is well over 100%. For the tariffs, and it's really kind of interesting to see what's going on, especially seeing how it affects, especially the Canadian companies and stuff like that. It's been very wild to kind of watch this whole thing, but it's kind of one of those things where it's being levied, by politicians who are trying to protect jobs as well as to keep more of the money in this country, and also using it to also kind of strong arm different countries to do certain things without getting into any of the details. I mean, depending on what side you're on, you definitely think different things depending on where you're at on the aisle politically. But I kind of wanted to stay away from that and just kind of like talk about how they're affecting us just in general with the TCG world. So are tariffs being placed on countries who make TCG products and accessories? The answer to that is yes. Countries such as China and Japan have all received tariffs from 10% to 30%, and I think the last time I heard, it's well over 100% for China. I'm guessing, as far as I understand, with the current administration, they're trying to get them to come to the board where they can sit down, they can have a talk and figure out how that's going to look in the country. But there's a multitude of reasons why our current American president and his cabinet are doing the things that they do. But it is what it is. So how's this news been received by media outlets in other countries? As you guys might have noticed, I said Canada. Canada is definitely. I think the current prime minister is basically asked for all businesses to pretty much pull all of American goods and basically get rid of them. There's been other countries that have retaliated and increased their tariffs. And it's just been a really interesting show, depending on, again, which side of the political linings you're on. You're gonna see or hear different things depending on which one you are, especially on the more centrist places. And podcasts have been very interesting to learn more things about what tariffs are and how they're being utilized and how they're being used as a way to do different things in the countries. But it's definitely affected everybody at this point, especially in the TCG realm and as well as accessories, which a lot of these, even like sleeves and stuff, dice, coins, the paper and wrapping and stuff. A lot of that stuff doesn't come from the US. It actually comes from China, Taiwan, and other places like that, which is really interesting. So are the tariffs affecting TCG products and accessories? Short answer is yes, and everyone is feeling the pinch. There are many shops, such as local game stores and online shops, who are caught in the middle of their pre-orders, not realizing that the tariffs were going to be placed before they bought their orders from their wholesalers, distributors, taking a bath, losing money, or even canceling their orders altogether. And we definitely have seen that, especially the Canadian companies who have just basically said, "Hey, just sorry, we went ahead and canceled your orders. if you don't want it, but we're going to be raising the price if you want to keep it, just to kind of offset the tariff price changes and stuff like that that the distributors and wholesalers have put on those different products, because they're also trying to offset the cost of it. Um, so how have you seen the side effects of the tariffs in your online shop? So here at Blue Mist Collectibles, we currently have our wholesalers that we are working with, both on the U.S. and the Japanese side of things, and we're starting to branch out and get more Japanese products, as well as we want to branch out to Simplified Chinese and other places like that, where there is a demand for it, especially in the U.S. And so we're going to keep expanding those things. But the fact of the matter is that we're going to pay more for it to buy it from our wholesalers, and the wholesalers, they're gonna it's gonna cost them more because they're gonna have to be charged by their distributors to get those products um, from overseas to to their warehouses. And so it's kind of like one of those things you have to deal with when you're doing a business. And a lot of the times these these different political things that crop up do affect day-to-day business, and it's just one of those things we have to deal with. I think overall it's going to be okay. I think people are already paying a huge premium and up price due to the different reasons. We'll talk about that here in just a few moments. But I think an additional 10, 15, 20, 30%, I don't think is going to be as big of a deal. I think a lot of people are seeing, and maybe I'm being jaded, maybe I'm being biased because I am a business owner in the TCG world, but I'm also seeing people spending 2-3 times more than what they would normally pay almost for products. So I just feel like an extra $5 or $10 for a product is not really gonna break the bank. But I could be wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So moving on to my outline here, what does this mean for average consumers who purchase TCG products? So the downside of these tariffs, is what we're experiencing right now, is that they will affect the prices of products, accessories, and depending on the percentage of which countries receive on these, the expense will continue to be passed down from manufacturer to distribution to wholesale to vendors and finally to the consumer, because nobody wants to take on the price, because that's, for a lot of shops, they're running really razor thin on their profit margins, and looking how that could cut into our profits, and it could slow our progress down and our scaling in our business. We're definitely feeling that pinch for sure. It is unfortunate. Unfortunately, it's just one of the side effects of our country is adding tariffs to all these different countries, and it is what it is, man. Not excited about it. Not too happy about it. I am excited for the other positive effects that could have for the American people and in America as a whole. And hopefully those things do pan out. I really do. But it's just, we're just kind of trying to see how it goes. It's looking like, as I'm seeing more things, more people, different countries. I think the last time I heard, they said 75 different countries decided they want to come to the table and to negotiate, whether it's a flat percentage, reciprocal tariff where they each charge each other 5, 10, 15, 20%, whatever it is, or if they're going to have zero tariffs and it's just going to be a free market from our country to theirs and vice versa. It's going to be interesting to see which countries end up doing that. It's going to be kind of a interesting thing to follow along. And as always, I always recommend look at sources from all the sides, both left and right and center. And I feel like we can be really informed on this and know kind of what's going on. Will your business, Blue Mist Collectibles, be increasing prices due to these increases in cost via tariffs? At the end of the day, yes, that's kind of what's going to happen. Unfortunately, because of how where the profit margins are at, yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to charge more for those products when we get those in. In fact, we're actually just getting a restock in, kind of trickling in slowly from our Japanese wholesaler, because he had to adjust all of his prices. He had to go through his spreadsheets and his price sheets and update everything to compensate for the the current tariff that they have coming in from Japan. I was kind of hoping we would we would only feel the effects, with some of the accessories, with sleeves, with like dice and stuff like that, and it would be just like a very small, almost negligible change. But that just wasn't the case, unfortunately. We're going to see it. We're even going to see it for the Magic the Gathering cards that are printed in Japan. They're also going to get an extra, bump. So unfortunately, we have to pass the cost on to customers, and it just kind of is what it is. It's going to be a pain point for a little while as people adjust to it. But I think people are already in a pain point right now when it comes to the pricing of products. So, we're just going to keep moving on and moving forward, and I think it'll be just fine. Are you saying that even in the current bull market, I will have to pay more for my product? Sadly, that is the case. And I think this is actually a pretty good comprehensive list. You guys will definitely have to let me know if I missed any of these. But what are some of the factors outside of the tariffs on why I can't find product and why my product is so expensive? The huge increases have been driven by many factors, and so these are just some of the ones I included in this outline. So the excitement around the phone app for Pokemon Pocket that released back in October 2024. I think it was like the number one app. I don't know if it still is, but definitely was the number one app for a month or so. So there's a lot of excitement around that. There's a lot of updates for it. People are just enjoying playing the game, both old and young. And I think that was a really big indicator that, hey, Pokemon is not only digitally, but you can also collect them physically. So that's pretty exciting. And some of the cards on Pokemon Pocket would be absolutely baller if they could do some of those as promos or something. It'd be kind of cool. Returning collectors from the original days through these games, Nintendo games, Pokemon Online, etc. A lot of these individuals, kind of have a new life. Pokemon Go. As well, I think they kind of had another surge kind of around that time as well. Just like, old dogs like us, the OGs, that opened up like the first edition, base set, unlimited, shadowless. Like we opened up all of that stuff. We had them in our back pockets. We we did not have, as they say, good binder. Etiquette, so it is what it is. A lot more hobbyists buying and selling on open markets, such as eBay and TCG Player. So there's just a lot of hobbyist people kind of jumping into it as well with these third-party reselling apps. Flippers, aka scalpers, individuals who use the current market, to quickly buy low and sell the product much higher shortly after purchase. Abuse of the no limit system, and buying as much as they can to create more scarcity. So that's another factor. More Pokemon investors buying and keeping more product than ever before. I think Rudy from Alpha Investments and many others that are trying to be him or be like him or are bigger whales in that corner of the market. More and more people are doing that. Sealed product scarcity through rip and ship shops, purchasing lots of product and opening them for packs. So that's creating sealed scarcity as well. And this also includes backdoor deals. That's something that I didn't realize, and I learned from Brian from PokeNE. He's just like, yeah, there's actually people that are, calling up or emailing different shops and being like, hey, can you, if you give me so many cases, like, can I get a good deal? I'm willing to pay X amount of money, and good on the different shops that are refusing to participate in those. I do appreciate those who are receiving those and saying absolutely not, they're not going to do that. And as for Blue Mist, as far as I know, we're definitely not going to participate in those. I don't think those are very kosher, I think, for the industry as a whole and for collectors. I just don't think it's a good deal. Increase in demand for products by vendors who did not previously purchase Pokemon, riding the demand train. That's something that's really interesting, and I think a lot of people are seeing more Pokemon cards in like places like Menards, places like grocery stores like are carrying them now. Ace Hardware, I think people have said that they've seen some there. So all these different places that never really bought Pokemon products, but they would buy like sports cards, or like if there were shops that were mostly like Warhammer and D&D, maybe they dipped their toe in it and they decided to get some. And so everybody wants it when it's, in a bull market. and unfortunately, just not enough to go around. So they're just kind of riding that hype train. The Pokemon Company taking 9 to 12 months to adjust to the new demand, and that's something that's a big deal as well because they got to plan 6, 9, 12 months out for these different sets, and they have to kind of take the other years into consideration. Okay, how much more percentage more or less should we do from the previous years, like that we saw with these, with the different excitement around the product? Like, do we need to add more, do we need to add less for allocations for these different places? They kind of reach out and ask, hey, for pre-orders, how much would you like? And people would give their amount that they would like, and sometimes they do second or third waves later on, which is what we're starting to see here coming up pretty soon, which is pretty exciting, which is good. Hopefully we'll see more English Pokemon in our shop. We'd love to see more. We've always continued to reach out to our wholesalers and say, hey, we're still interested, so if you get any English Pokemon, reach out to us. We're willing to buy that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like, it is what it is. It's where we're at right now. So what can we expect from the market? When can we expect the market to shift? And that's kind of a hard question to answer, but it seems that over the last few years, from what I've heard from different people, watching different YouTubes and kind of doing some very light, very like top level research, which is very little, it seems that every 3 to 5 years, there's always like a 1 to 2 year bull market in the TCG world. But honestly, it's anyone's guess as when it'll turn around and eventually subside into a more normal market. I mean, I kind of think eventually it will, and I think with these tariffs, it might affect, especially all of the quick flippers out there, and the individuals who have tried to do rip and ship, or they tried to, start a shop and they didn't do their due diligence and plan for the future and stuff like that. And unfortunately, a lot of them are going to boom and bust. That's why Chris and I are doing very, very, doing, our best to make sure that that doesn't happen. Obviously, we want to stand the test of time. We want to be in the part of this community for many years to come. So what do we do as a community during these crazy times as an online shop? And as a collector, I think collectors are just going to have to do more research and having to, ensure that the different shops that they reach out to, that they pre-order from probably a couple of different shops that they trust, that they know are not going to, cancel their orders and stuff like that, that have been really good at their pre-orders, waiting until they have their allocations, wait until they have an actual shipping confirmation and tracking info that it's out in the, that it's being shipped out. They're not trying to do a quick pump and dump or cancel a bunch of orders and then relist it later because the price went up, things like that. So shops got to do better about that kind of stuff. And I think that's something that we've definitely learned just from watching YouTube videos of different shops that have really struggled through these different issues with their allocations and stuff like that. They can't just, do a pre-order several months in advance and then go, oh, sorry guys, it shifted, so now I need to increase the price. It's just, we got to do better as shops, and that's something that Chris and I are very focused on, making sure that we do a good job with our pre-orders, and so we're very careful. We definitely wait for confirmations before we even think about it. But I feel like our Journey Together bundles that we got definitely went really, really well. I think Chris should be definitely praised for that. Chris, you did an awesome job, man. Thank you so much for making sure that went super smooth. If you guys haven't already known, join our Discord. You want to check it out and make sure to be a part of the deals as they come through with these different pre-orders that we're going to do. Tarkir Dragonstorm is going to be absolutely nuts. We're just waiting as well with our wholesalers for our Voltex restock. It's just a matter of time. As soon as those get in, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be adjusting for the tariffs, so it may be a few dollars more. It is what it is, guys. We do apologize. It's not something that is in our control. And as always, we can't thank you enough for all the support, guys. So keep up the good work as a collector. Definitely try to find different places that you can trust to get your product. Buy lots of singles during this time. Check out different different languages such as Japanese, Simplified Chinese, Korean, etc., etc. And the product's out there. You just got to do your research and check it out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate you. And thank you for enjoying these Shop Talk videos. If you have any thoughts or questions or comments, definitely leave them in the comment section down below. Check out our website, bluemistcollectibles.com. And from our family to yours, have a wonderful evening.